The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Cultivate a resilient mind, and nothing outside will disturb your peace. Welcome to today's journey into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life's ups and downs? The chaos of daily life can leave us feeling anxious, ungrounded, and reactive. But what if I told you that ancient philosophers had the answers all along? In this video, we will explore 9 Stoic principles that empower you to rise above adversity and maintain unshakable inner peace. Imagine a life where external events, whether criticism, failure, or unexpected challenges, hold no sway over your emotional well-being. The Stoics believe that true strength lies not in changing the world around us, but in mastering our thoughts and reactions. These principles are not mere theories. They are practical tools that you can apply in your daily life to cultivate resilience, clarity, and focus. Join me as we delve into strategies that encourage self-mastery, acceptance of life's impermanence, and the ability to embrace discomfort for growth. Each principle we'll discuss is designed to help you build an unbreakable shield against negativity and distractions. So, get ready to transform your perspective and empower yourself to navigate life with confidence and serenity. Let's dive in. Focus on what you can control. At the core of Stoic philosophy lies one of its most important teachings, the distinction between what is within your control and what is not. This principle, often referred to as the dichotomy of control, is central to developing a resilient mindset that remains undisturbed by life's unpredictabilities. By focusing exclusively on the things you can influence and accepting those you cannot, you gain the clarity and emotional fortitude to handle life's challenges with grace. Understanding the dichotomy of control. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, in his work The Enchiridion, emphasized this distinction as the foundation of peace of mind. He explains that while some things are within our power, others are not. Those within our control include our thoughts, judgments, actions, and responses. On the other hand, things beyond our control include external events, other people's opinions, and the outcomes of our actions. Recognizing this distinction frees us from unnecessary worry and stress. For instance, you cannot control how someone will react to your words, but you can control how you choose to speak. You cannot always control whether or not you will succeed in a project, but you can control the amount of effort and dedication you put into it. This shift in perspective changes the way we navigate challenges. Instead of obsessing over results and external circumstances, we learn to focus on the process, the part that is fully within our grasp. Letting go of external attachments. One of the biggest sources of suffering in life is our attachment to things outside of ourselves. We often base our happiness and sense of self-worth on external conditions, the approval of others, material success, relationships, or social status. When we allow these external factors to dictate our emotions, we set ourselves up for disappointment and frustration because they are by nature unpredictable and beyond our control. By focusing on what we can control, we learn to let go of these attachments. This doesn't mean we stop caring about people or outcomes, but rather that we cultivate detachment from the results. For example, a Stoic might pursue a goal with all their effort, but remain indifferent to whether they succeed or fail, understanding that the outcome is influenced by external factors. This detachment doesn't breed apathy, but instead it fosters resilience. When success comes, the Stoic feels gratitude without being consumed by it. When failure comes, they remain composed, knowing they did their best. Building emotional resilience. Focusing on what is within your control helps build emotional resilience. Life will inevitably throw challenges your way, rejection, loss, failure. But by grounding yourself in what you can control, you maintain inner stability. For instance, If you face a difficult situation at work, instead of stressing over how others might react or the outcome, concentrate on your own behavior. You control your effort, attitude, and how you choose to respond. This shift in mindset keeps you anchored in your own strength, preventing outside forces from overwhelming you emotionally. The Stoics believed that our judgments about events rather than the events themselves cause emotional distress. When something bad happens, it's our interpretation of the event that determines whether we suffer. By focusing on our judgments and how we choose to perceive things, we can cultivate inner peace. Instead of viewing setbacks as catastrophic, we can reframe them as opportunities for growth and learning. Applying the principle in daily life. To practice this principle, start by reflecting on the challenges you currently face. Write down the aspects of the situation you can control and those you cannot. Then, commit to focusing your energy only on what you can influence. Let go of the rest. Over time, this practice will become second nature, reducing your stress levels and helping you navigate life's difficulties with greater calm and clarity. For example, if you're preparing for a job interview, recognize that you cannot control whether the interviewers will like you or hire you. What you can control, however, is how you prepare for the interview, the attitude you bring, and how you present yourself. By focusing solely on your preparation and performance, you reduce anxiety over the outcome. Focusing on what you can control is a powerful tool for maintaining peace of mind in an unpredictable world. By directing your attention and energy toward your own thoughts, actions, and responses, you gain the freedom to navigate life's challenges with a calm and composed mind. Letting go of what you cannot control removes the burden of external validation and results, allowing you to live a life of resilience and inner strength. Accept impermanence. The principle of accepting impermanence is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy and serves as a foundational concept for achieving inner peace and emotional resilience. At its core, it encourages us to recognize that nothing in life is permanent. Our possessions, relationships, successes, failures, and even life itself are all subject to change. By accepting the transitory nature of all things, we free ourselves from the unnecessary pain caused by attachment, allowing us to navigate life's ups and downs with greater wisdom and calm. The nature of impermanence. Impermanence is a universal truth. Everything in the world is constantly changing. The seasons shift, people age, circumstances evolve, and new experiences replace old ones. The Stoics believe that resisting this reality is a primary cause of human suffering. We tend to get attached to people, material things, and even emotional states expecting them to last forever. However, when they inevitably change, we feel disappointed, angry, or even devastated. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius taught that the key to tranquility lies in recognizing that everything we value is temporary. Epictetus often spoke about viewing external things such as wealth, health, and even loved ones as gifts that are temporarily ours, but could be taken away at any moment. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, frequently reflected on how fleeting life is, urging himself to live virtuously, without getting lost in the pursuit of fleeting pleasures or becoming overwhelmed by hardships. Understanding the harm of attachment. One of the key insights behind accepting impermanence is understanding the harm that attachment can cause. When we attach ourselves too strongly to things, whether it's a possession, a person, or an idea, we set ourselves up for disappointment. This is because we are trying to hold on to something that is, by its very nature, impermanent. For example, if you build your sense of identity around your career, a sudden job loss can shatter your sense of self-worth. If you are overly attached to a relationship, you may feel lost or broken if that relationship ends. Similarly, People who are deeply attached to wealth or status often live in constant fear of losing what they have, and this fear can be a source of great anxiety. Stoicism teaches that to live a life of tranquility and freedom, we must reduce our attachments to things that are beyond our control and inevitably subject to change. This doesn't mean we shouldn't value relationships, wealth, or success. It simply means that we must recognize their transient nature and not depend on them for our happiness. Practicing detachment. To practice the Stoic principle of accepting impermanence, we need to cultivate detachment, which doesn't mean withdrawing from life or avoiding emotions. Instead, it involves developing a healthy relationship with the things and people we care about, without clinging to them. Detachment allows us to appreciate things without becoming dependent on them. One way to cultivate this mindset is to regularly remind yourself that everything you cherish is impermanent. This could be through a practice called negative visualization, where you intentionally imagine losing the things or people you love. This exercise, far from being morbid, helps you appreciate the present moment and prepares you for eventual loss. By considering worst-case scenarios, you can reduce the emotional shock when things change or end. Additionally, practicing gratitude can help you detach from impermanent things while still appreciating them. When you are thankful for what you have, you acknowledge that it is not guaranteed, and therefore, cherish it more fully in the present, without demanding that it remain the same forever. Accepting the impermanence of life itself. Perhaps the most profound aspect of impermanence is the fact that life itself is temporary. The Stoics were deeply aware of mortality, and saw it as a critical motivator for living a meaningful life. Memento mori, or remember you will die, is a practice within Stoicism that encourages individuals to keep death in mind, not to provoke fear, but to inspire them to live virtuously and with purpose. By accepting that life is finite, we free ourselves from the illusion that we have all the time in the world. This awareness can help us prioritize what truly matters, whether that's cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing our goals, or living in alignment with our values. Instead of fearing death or the end of things, we can embrace the reality of impermanence as a guiding force that brings clarity and focus to how we live. In accepting impermanence, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. We learn to appreciate the present without clinging to it, to love without attachment, and to live without fear of loss. This Stoic principle is a powerful tool for cultivating emotional resilience, as it teaches us to let go of the illusion of permanence and find peace in the ever-changing nature of existence. By embracing this truth, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and develop the inner strength to face whatever life brings with equanimity. Practice negative visualization. Negative visualization, also known as premeditatio malorum in Latin, is a key Stoic technique used to mentally prepare for adversity and misfortune, rather than dwelling on what might go wrong out of pessimism or fear. Stoics encourage imagining worst-case scenarios as a way to build emotional resilience and a clearer perspective on life's challenges. This practice is not about dwelling on negativity, but rather about learning to appreciate what we have and being mentally prepared for potential losses or difficulties. Origins and philosophy. Negative visualization traces back to ancient Stoics like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, who believed that contemplating adversity would allow us to meet challenges with composure and calm. By mentally rehearsing difficult situations before they happen, we can reduce their emotional impact and build a psychological buffer against life's inevitable ups and downs. The Stoics understood that humans are often caught off guard when something goes wrong, because we tend to assume that things will always go smoothly. Negative visualization interrupts this assumption, providing us with the mental fortitude to accept change and loss when they come. Imagine a scenario where you lose something important. It could be your job, your health, or a relationship. By visualizing this potential loss in advance, you familiarize yourself with the emotional reaction it might provoke. This exercise allows you to rehearse how you would handle such a situation with composure, and without being overwhelmed by the event. It helps you put things into perspective, understanding that everything is temporary, and that loss and suffering are a natural part of life. Through this mental rehearsal, you gradually become desensitized to the fear of loss. You build a mindset that can withstand external disturbances, because you've already thought through the emotions and responses that such events might provoke. There are several psychological benefits to practicing negative visualization. Reduced anxiety. Often, our anxiety stems from the fear of the unknown or potential misfortunes. By visualizing these scenarios, you confront these fears head-on, making them less intimidating. When you've already imagined the worst, reality often feels less daunting. Gratitude. When you visualize the loss of something you currently possess, you become more appreciative of it in the present. You are reminded of the fragility and impermanence of the things you hold dear, making you more mindful and grateful for what you have now. For example, imagining the loss of a loved one can deepen your appreciation for your relationship with them and prompt you to be more present in your interactions. Emotional preparedness. Practicing negative visualization trains your mind to remain calm in the face of adversity. When the real-world equivalent of the situation you imagined occurs, you're less likely to panic or become overwhelmed. Instead, you'll be prepared to respond with a level-headed, rational approach. Mental toughness. By confronting your fears, you strengthen your mind and resilience. Negative visualization is like a workout for the mind. The more you practice it, the stronger and more resilient your thinking becomes. Over time, you'll find that fewer things affect you deeply because you've developed a sense of inner stability and preparedness. Negative visualization is a practical tool that you can incorporate into your daily routine. For example, you might start your day by spending a few minutes contemplating potential setbacks you could encounter. From minor inconveniences like being stuck in traffic, to major life events like losing your job. During this exercise, don't merely think of the negatives, also visualize how you would react to them. Imagine yourself responding calmly and effectively to the situation. Over time, this practice will help you develop a more resilient mindset, where external events have less power to disturb your inner peace. You can also apply negative visualization to personal relationships. By contemplating the possibility of losing someone you care about, you become more appreciative of the time you have with them. You learn not to take people for granted, and this awareness helps you cultivate deeper, more meaningful connections. Common misunderstandings. One common misunderstanding about negative visualization is that it promotes a pessimistic outlook on life. However, the Stoics intended it to be a tool for reducing fear and anxiety, not increasing it. The goal is not to dwell on negative thoughts constantly, but to acknowledge the possibility of loss in order to prepare for it emotionally. In fact, negative visualization often leads to greater contentment and a more positive outlook, because it fosters gratitude and helps you appreciate the present moment. Another misconception is that negative visualization means expecting bad things to happen. But that's not the case. It's about preparing for the worst while still hoping for the best. You aren't dwelling in fear. Instead, you are mentally rehearsing your responses to adversity, so that if something does go wrong, you can face it with composure. Negative visualization is a powerful Stoic practice for building mental resilience, reducing anxiety, and cultivating gratitude. By imagining worst-case scenarios, you not only prepare yourself emotionally for potential difficulties, but also learn to appreciate the present and develop a mindset that remains unaffected by external circumstances. In this way, negative visualization strengthens your ability to maintain peace and clarity, no matter what life throws at you. View challenges as opportunities. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is the idea that challenges and obstacles are not merely things to be endured or avoided, but rather opportunities for personal growth and self-improvement. The Stoics believe that adversity is an integral part of life, and it is how we respond to these difficulties that truly defines our character. This principle is known as amor fati, or the love of fate. At first glance, it might seem counterintuitive to embrace difficulties or see value in suffering. However, from a Stoic perspective, life is full of unpredictable events that are outside our control: illness, loss, rejection, and disappointment. These things are inevitable, and resisting them only leads to unnecessary pain. The Stoic approach is to accept and even welcome these challenges, understanding that they are essential for building resilience and strengthening the mind. Challenges are the forge of character. Just as a blacksmith strengthens metal by subjecting it to fire and hammering, Stoicism teaches that our character is similarly forged through adversity. Without difficulties, we cannot develop the virtues of patience, courage, and wisdom. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This quote highlights that the very things we often wish to avoid are the same things that allow us to grow. For example, consider someone who faces frequent criticism at work. Instead of seeing this as a purely negative experience, a Stoic would view it as a valuable opportunity to improve their communication skills, develop thicker skin, and learn how to handle constructive feedback without becoming defensive. The adversity itself becomes a tool for growth, not a roadblock. Obstacles as stepping stones. The Stoic mindset also encourages us to shift our perspective about the things that go wrong in our lives. Instead of viewing challenges as insurmountable, we can see them as stepping stones toward a better version of ourselves. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the obstacle itself becomes the path to progress. By framing difficulties as opportunities, you shift your attention from feeling victimized by life's challenges to seeing them as chances to rise above circumstances. For example, if a project fails, a Stoic wouldn't dwell on the loss or blame others, but would instead focus on what lessons could be learned and how to improve moving forward. Each failure is a lesson in disguise, and each hardship is a test of your mental and emotional strength. Building resilience through amor fati, the Stoics believe that adopting a mindset of amor fati, loving everything that happens to you, creates mental fortitude. This doesn't mean blindly accepting every negative event with passivity. Instead, it means actively embracing the reality that life is full of ups and downs and recognizing that each experience, whether pleasant or painful, serves a purpose. Consider how athletes view physical training. Each day they push their bodies through discomfort and fatigue, understanding that these temporary pains lead to long-term gains in strength and endurance. Stoics apply the same principle to life's emotional and psychological challenges. The more you experience and embrace adversity, the stronger you become mentally. Instead of fearing hardship, you develop resilience, which becomes your greatest asset in life. Changing perspective, not reality. Stoicism teaches that it's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our judgments and reactions to them. By changing the way we perceive challenges, we alter their impact on us. Instead of seeing a difficult situation as a source of suffering, we can reinterpret it as an opportunity for growth. This shift in perspective is empowering because it puts us in control of how we experience life. For example, if you're facing a financial setback, a Stoic would encourage you to ask, "What can I learn from this situation? How can this make me stronger?" Rather than feeling helpless or angry, you take responsibility for your reaction and use the experience as a tool for self-improvement. The situation doesn't change, but your perception of it and therefore your emotional response does. Viewing challenges as opportunities is a transformative Stoic principle. It encourages us to embrace adversity rather than resist it, to see obstacles as integral to our personal development, and to strengthen our resilience. By adopting this mindset, we learn to face life's difficulties with grace, understanding that every challenge is a stepping stone toward becoming a better version of ourselves. Through this lens, nothing can truly affect us because everything, even the worst moments, becomes an opportunity for growth and strength. Maintain a calm mind. Maintaining a calm mind is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, one that has the power to transform how we perceive and respond to the world around us. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, believed that a calm and rational mind is essential for making sound decisions and achieving inner peace. A mind in turmoil, by contrast, is vulnerable to being overwhelmed by external circumstances, leading to irrational actions, suffering, and emotional chaos. By cultivating a calm mind, we take control over how we react to life's inevitable challenges, ensuring that we are not merely at the mercy of our emotions. Understanding emotional disturbances. Our minds are naturally wired to react to stimuli, both internal and external. Stress, anxiety, anger, frustration, and fear are all emotional responses to events or thoughts that we perceive as threatening or problematic. While these emotions are a natural part of the human experience, Stoics teach us that it is not the emotions themselves that harm us, but our failure to manage them. According to Stoicism, emotions often arise from judgments we make about the world, specifically, judgments about what is good or bad, beneficial or harmful. For example, if someone insults you, your immediate reaction might be anger or frustration. However, a Stoic would argue that the insult itself is neutral. It is only your interpretation of it as harmful or offensive that causes emotional disturbance. The role of rational thought. The key to maintaining a calm mind lies in separating yourself from these instinctive judgments and learning to approach situations with rational thought, instead of reacting impulsively to external events. Stoicism encourages a reflective pause. This pause is a moment where reason can intervene and guide your response in a more constructive direction. When we maintain a calm mind, we are better equipped to act in ways that align with our values, rather than being led by fleeting emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself to remain unmoved by external forces, advising, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In essence, this means that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. If we train ourselves to react calmly, our responses will be grounded in wisdom rather than emotion. Detachment from the outcome. A calm mind is also fostered by detachment from outcomes. Much of the stress and anxiety people experience comes from an attachment to specific outcomes or expectations. We might become overly concerned with how a project will turn out, how others will perceive us, or whether we will achieve a particular goal. When things don't go as planned, we experience frustration and disappointment, Stoics emphasize focusing on effort rather than results. This doesn't mean we stop caring about our goals or responsibilities, but it does mean recognizing that many factors influencing the outcome are beyond our control. By detaching from the outcome and focusing on the process, we maintain a calm mindset, no matter how the situation unfolds. This mental shift reduces stress and allows us to remain centered, even in uncertain or challenging circumstances. Practical ways to cultivate a calm mind. Mindful breathing. One simple way to calm your mind is through mindful breathing. Taking slow, deep breaths activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps your body relax. This practice, often used in Stoic reflection, creates space between a stimulus and your reaction, allowing you to respond with thoughtfulness rather than impulsiveness. Self-reflection. Stoicism encourages daily self-reflection, a time when you can review your thoughts and actions from the day and assess how aligned they were with Stoic principles. By reflecting on emotional moments, you gain insights into what triggers you and how you can handle similar situations better in the future. Cognitive distancing. This involves mentally stepping back from a situation and observing it from a detached perspective. Instead of seeing things as immediate threats, view them as neutral events. Ask yourself, is this really as catastrophic as it seems? Will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? Stoic journaling. Writing down your thoughts and emotional experiences can help you gain clarity and manage your emotions more effectively. This practice also helps you document the progress you're making in maintaining a calm mind and identifying areas for improvement. Avoiding reactive behaviors. Often a reactive mind leads us to engage in behaviors that only heighten our emotional state. Practicing Stoic detachment means not allowing others' actions, or even your own emotional impulses, to dictate your behavior. For example, when you're angry, choose silence or a calm response instead of snapping back. Maintaining a calm mind is not about suppressing emotions, but learning to navigate them with wisdom and control. A calm mind allows you to rise above the chaos of external circumstances and stay rooted in rational thought. It enables you to respond to challenges in ways that align with your higher self and long-term goals, rather than being swayed by temporary emotions. Cultivating this inner tranquility requires practice, but with consistent effort, it becomes a powerful tool for Stoic resilience and emotional mastery. In doing so, you gain strength and peace, becoming less affected by life's unpredictable events. Embrace voluntary discomfort. The Stoic principle of embracing voluntary discomfort is one of the most powerful practices for building mental resilience and fortitude. Stoicism teaches that facing discomfort willingly not only prepares you for inevitable challenges in life, but also fosters a sense of inner strength and independence. When you seek out and endure uncomfortable situations by choice, you gain control over your fears, desires, and emotional reactions. This principle is not about unnecessary suffering but about training the mind to withstand hardship with grace and composure. Why voluntary discomfort? Life is unpredictable, filled with moments of both comfort and hardship. Many of us consciously or unconsciously seek comfort and avoid pain at all costs. We chase material possessions, security, and pleasure because they make life seem easier. However, Stoics argue that this pursuit of comfort can make us weak, vulnerable, and dependent on external factors. When the inevitable hardships of life arise, such as loss, illness, or disappointment, those who have lived comfortably are often unprepared and emotionally overwhelmed. Voluntary discomfort helps you break this cycle of dependence. By deliberately placing yourself in challenging situations, You train your mind and body to handle adversity with calm and resilience. When life's real difficulties strike, you'll have already built the mental muscle needed to endure without being emotionally shaken. Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca advocated for simple, practical exercises that could strengthen one's mental and emotional resilience. Here are some common forms of voluntary discomfort that they and modern Stoics practice. Fasting. Deliberately skipping meals or going without food for extended periods not only cultivates self-control, but also makes you appreciate the abundance in your life. Fasting teaches you that you can survive, even thrive, without indulging in constant satisfaction of physical needs. Minimalism. Living with fewer possessions or comforts can help free you from the anxiety of materialism. By practicing minimalism, wearing simple clothes, sleeping on the floor, or using basic necessities, you learn that happiness and contentment do not come from luxury or excess. This prepares you for any situation where material wealth is unavailable. Physical challenges. Engaging in physical discomfort through exercise, cold showers, or exposure to extreme weather helps fortify your body and mind. It reminds you that your body is capable of enduring more than you think. These small physical discomforts, voluntarily undertaken, prepare you to face larger difficulties without fear or hesitation. Mental endurance. Facing fears or difficult conversations head-on can also be a form of voluntary discomfort. For example, public speaking, admitting mistakes, or seeking out criticism are ways to practice mental toughness. By putting yourself in uncomfortable social or emotional situations, you build resilience and develop a thicker skin, less affected by others' opinions or judgments. Voluntary discomfort rewires your brain to handle stress differently. Most people associate discomfort with pain and avoid it at all costs, but by willingly stepping into discomfort, you begin to view challenges as opportunities for growth, rather than threats to your well-being. This shift in mindset cultivates a sense of empowerment and control over your circumstances. By regularly practicing discomfort, you also increase your self-discipline. Instead of giving in to every impulse or desire, you learn to control your reactions and cravings. This makes you mentally stronger and less likely to be influenced by external pressures. When your mind learns that it can endure hardships voluntarily, it becomes less fearful and more focused. You gain confidence that you can survive without constant comfort or reassurance. Additionally, embracing discomfort fosters gratitude. When you expose why. The seventh Stoic principle, remember the shortness of life, memento mori, is a profound and transformative concept that encourages us to contemplate our mortality regularly. This idea is at the heart of Stoic philosophy, and has been emphasized by renowned Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Far from being a morbid or depressing notion, memento mori serves as a powerful reminder to focus on what truly matters in life, prioritize virtuous living, and appreciate each moment we have. Understanding memento mori. The phrase memento mori translates from Latin as, remember that you must die. For the Stoics, this wasn't a pessimistic reminder meant to induce fear or anxiety, but rather an invitation to live wisely. By acknowledging that life is finite, we become more conscious of how we spend our time and where we invest our energy. When we fully grasp that every day could be our last, we are less likely to waste time on trivial concerns, petty conflicts, or the pursuit of material possessions that have no lasting value. Why reflecting on mortality matters. In modern life, it is easy to get caught up in the constant chase for more success, more wealth, more approval from others. We often postpone the things that truly matter, assuming we have all the time in the world. But this assumption is deceptive. Life can change in an instant, and the Stoics understood that death could come at any moment, which makes it essential to live with intention, purpose, and virtue right now. By reflecting on our mortality, we are encouraged to let go of the things that don't matter. Imagine how trivial many of our daily worries would seem if we knew that today was our last day. Would we still be concerned with minor inconveniences? Or would we instead focus on the relationships, passions, and actions that give our lives meaning? Memento mori helps us sharpen our focus on what is important, leading to a more fulfilled and meaningful existence. Enhancing gratitude. Another key aspect of memento mori is that it fosters gratitude. When we realize that our time is limited, we begin to appreciate life's small joys. A meaningful conversation with a loved one, the beauty of nature, the satisfaction of work well done. We stop taking things for granted. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the impermanence of everything, and used this awareness to cultivate a deep appreciation for the present moment. Memento mori also tempers our desires and ambitions. Stoics weren't against ambition, but they warned against the constant striving for external success at the expense of inner peace. When we keep death in mind, it serves as a filter for our goals. Are we chasing something worthwhile, or are we driven by vanity and the need for approval? The realization that we won't live forever pushes us to pursue endeavors that bring true fulfillment and contribute to our moral development. Living a life of virtue. One of the most important ways memento mori influences Stoic living is by encouraging us to live virtuously. Stoicism teaches that the only thing truly under our control is our own character, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. If we are constantly aware of our mortality, we are less likely to engage in behavior that is unworthy of us, like harboring resentment, indulging in anger, or engaging in unethical actions. Knowing that our time is limited, we aim to live in alignment with virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, famously wrote in his essay On the Shortness of Life that most people squander their time on trivial pursuits, not realizing how precious life is. He argued that life is long if you know how to use it. But for those who waste their time in distractions and superficial pursuits, life seems short and fleeting. The Stoics believed that the best way to stretch life was to live it fully in accordance with virtue, making each moment count, embracing the present. The eighth Stoic principle, master your desires, is a profound aspect of Stoic philosophy that focuses on achieving emotional freedom and mental clarity by reining in our desires. Desires in this context are not just limited to material wealth or possessions, but also include cravings for recognition, pleasure, comfort, and social validation. The Stoics believed that unchecked desires are the root cause of much human suffering, and that mastering them is key to achieving a peaceful and virtuous life. Understanding desire in Stoicism. Desire, according to Stoicism, is a natural human instinct. However, the problem arises when these desires become excessive or misdirected. The Stoics distinguished between natural desires and unnatural desires. Natural desires are things like food, shelter, and companionship, things necessary for survival and well-being. Unnatural desires, on the other hand, are things like the craving for excessive wealth, fame, or luxury. Things that, while nice to have, are not essential to living a good life. The Stoics argue that our happiness should never depend on external objects or outcomes. Why? Because these external things are largely beyond our control. A life governed by desires for material wealth, status, or even comfort is one that is vulnerable to disappointment, frustration, and anxiety. If we pin our happiness to acquiring external things, we will always be at the mercy of circumstances that are beyond our control. The link between desire and suffering. Desires are inherently tied to attachment. When you desire something, whether it's material wealth, a promotion, or social approval, you become attached to the outcome. This attachment can lead to anxiety, frustration, and even depression when things don't go your way. You might find yourself constantly stressed about losing what you have, or worse, dissatisfied because you don't have enough. This mindset traps you in a cycle of wanting more, which the Stoics saw as a form of self-imposed suffering. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It is not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." This means that true suffering comes not from external events, but from our attachment to those events. The moment you detach from your desires, you regain control over your emotional well-being. By mastering your desires, you can free yourself from the mental anguish that comes from unfulfilled cravings. Self-control is the path to freedom. One of the key virtues in Stoicism is self-discipline or self-control. For the Stoics, mastering your desires means cultivating the ability to say no to impulses that don't serve your higher purpose. This includes not only material desires but also emotional desires, such as the need for approval, admiration, or revenge. By practicing self-control, you develop inner freedom, because your happiness is no longer contingent on obtaining something outside of yourself. Self-control is not about deprivation or asceticism. Rather, it's about practicing moderation. The Stoics didn't believe that you should completely reject pleasure or comfort, but they cautioned against overindulgence and the pursuit of fleeting pleasures. By exercising self-control, you build resilience, which enables you to face challenges and setbacks with a calm mind. Desire and the pursuit of virtue. For the Stoics, the only true good is virtue. Virtue in this context means living in accordance with nature and reason, and acting with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Desires, especially those for material wealth or status, often lead us away from virtue. When we are consumed by the pursuit of external goods, we may compromise our values or principles to obtain them. We may act unjustly or dishonestly, or allow fear to dictate our decisions. By mastering your desires, you align your actions with your values. You learn to appreciate what you have and find contentment in living a life of integrity and purpose. The Stoic. Stay grounded in the present moment. In an age filled with distractions and the constant pull of past regrets or future anxieties, one of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the importance of being grounded in the present moment. This principle is not merely about enjoying the now, but is a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy that emphasizes where our true power lies. The Stoics understood that the present is the only moment we can directly influence. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we can lead lives marked by greater clarity, purpose, and emotional resilience. Understanding the nature of time. Time is often perceived as a linear continuum, where the past informs our present and shapes our future. However, the Stoics urged individuals to recognize that while the past is immutable and the future is uncertain, the present is the only moment that exists for us to act. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, articulated this notion beautifully in his Meditations. He wrote about the necessity of focusing on what is in front of us, our thoughts, decisions, and actions, as these are the only aspects we can control. The dangers of dwelling on the past and future. When we allow ourselves to become preoccupied with past mistakes or missed opportunities, we risk drowning in regret, guilt, or resentment. Similarly, obsessing over future uncertainties can lead to anxiety, fear, and paralysis. These emotions distract us from the present, cloud our judgment, and prevent us from making the most of our current circumstances. For example, consider a student who has failed an important exam. Dwelling on this failure may lead to feelings of worthlessness and despair. Instead of learning from the experience and focusing on preparing for the next exam, the student becomes trapped in a cycle of negative self-talk. This distraction from the present hinders personal growth and development. Conversely, someone fixated on future success may become paralyzed by the fear of failure or overwhelmed by the weight of their aspirations. This fixation often leads to inaction, as the individual becomes so concerned about what lies ahead that they neglect the steps needed to achieve their goals in the present. To cultivate mindfulness, Stoicism encourages the practice of self-reflection and deliberate awareness of one's thoughts and emotions. Here are several strategies to help incorporate mindfulness into daily life. Mindful breathing. Take moments throughout the day to focus on your breath. Simple breathing exercises can help anchor you to the present. For instance, try inhaling deeply for a count of 4, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4. This not only calms the mind but also grounds you in the current moment. Gratitude journaling. Keep a journal where you note down things you are grateful for each day. This practice shifts focus from what is lacking or worrisome to what is abundant and positive in the present. Focused attention. During daily tasks, practice focusing solely on the activity at hand. Whether you are eating, walking, or working, give your full attention to that moment. This reduces distractions and enhances the enjoyment and satisfaction derived from each activity. Periodic reflection. Set aside time each day to reflect on your actions, thoughts, and feelings. This practice helps you assess whether you have remained present and mindful throughout the day, allowing you to make necessary adjustments. Limit multitasking. Multitasking can scatter your focus. Instead, try to concentrate on one task at a time. This not only enhances productivity, but also fosters a deeper connection to each activity. By consciously practicing mindfulness and focusing on the present, you cultivate a sense of peace and clarity that protects against the emotional turbulence caused by dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Here are some benefits of remaining grounded in the present. Enhanced emotional resilience. By focusing on the present, you develop a stronger ability to handle stress and adversity. You learn to respond to challenges with clarity and composure, rather than reacting impulsively. Increased satisfaction. Being present allows you to fully experience and appreciate life's moments, leading to greater satisfaction and fulfillment. You can enjoy the small joys of everyday life without the weight of past regrets or future concerns. Improved relationships. Mindfulness fosters better communication and connection with others. By being present in conversations, you become a better listener and a more compassionate friend or partner. Staying grounded in the present moment is a powerful Stoic principle that invites us to reclaim our power over our thoughts and actions. By recognizing that the present is where life unfolds and where we have agency, we can cultivate a mindset that not only enhances our emotional well-being, but also leads to a more meaningful and purposeful existence. As we practice mindfulness, we align ourselves with the essence of Stoic philosophy, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with grace and resilience. In conclusion, embracing these 9 Stoic principles empowers you to navigate life with unwavering strength and resilience. By focusing on what you can control and accepting the impermanence of all things, you create a solid foundation for your mental well-being. Remember, challenges are not just obstacles, They are opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The practice of negative visualization helps prepare you for life's uncertainties, enabling you to face difficulties with a calm and composed mind. By incorporating voluntary discomfort into your routine, you build mental fortitude, while the reminder of life's brevity urges you to prioritize what truly matters. Mastering your desires frees you from the emotional turmoil of craving external validation, allowing you to cultivate genuine happiness from within. Lastly, staying grounded in the present moment enriches your experiences, helping you live a life filled with purpose and gratitude. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Stoicism. If you found these principles helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more insights on living a resilient and fulfilling life. Together, let's continue to explore the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and unlock the true power within ourselves. Stay strong and serene,